Welcome to the Life and Times of JC Otero, episode 18. I got next. You may have picked up now that I've changed my attire from the first 16 videos I did very early in the morning. I had a Longhorn sweatshirt on and now I have a Saints shirt on. I'm also a Cowboys fan. I really like the Saints. I'll share a little bit of quick story here, but this particular episode, I just wanted to take a moment to also share some more about something that is a big part of my life, which is sports. Growing up, I played a lot of sports. And then as I got older, I played less and less sports, but even to this day, I'm always interested in playing sports and very competitive in nature. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about that. So I got about 9 minutes to kind of just ramble on just sports related memories. And so, trying to think back on some of the earliest memories that I had growing up related to sports. I guess one that comes to mind is, the Saints. Like growing up, I had Saints in my life, even though I'm from Texas, and we have the Dallas Cowboys. And the reason was because with this was one of my classmates growing up. His grandparents were the owners of the Saints, and so they always had kind of like the stickers on their car. They always kind of wore the clothes. They were like obviously super diehard Saints fans. I mean, how can you not be when your grandparents own it, right? And so that kind of made me a fan. I remember that they used to own the Saints had like car dealership, but like one thing that family would do is that they'd have like help would do a parade, and so a Mardi Gras parade. So I remember having these Mardi Gras parades at school and getting beads and kind of just learning about New Orleans and always wanting to visit there, which to this day I've gone to New Orleans probably over a dozen times, and it's one of my most favorite cities. And I got this shirt at a Saints game with Kristen, which we went to go see there in the Superdome, and that was a good experience. One of my goals is to go to every single NFL stadium. I've only been to a few so far. I've been to the Saints. I just went to a Cowboys game back in September, I think it was, or October with Kristen, which go see the Giants. And we had standing room, which ticket prices are just insane at the Cowboy Stadium. And then while we were traveling, we went to a couple football games. We got to go see the Chargers back when they were in San Diego. They played the Browns. That was a cool game because we got like 50 yard line tickets, row 14 or something for like $50, which you barely even get like standing room at the Cowboy Stadium for that. Then on that same road trip when we did the West Coast, we went to the 49ers game in San Francisco. I think they played the Ravens. That was awesome. I was hoping that we could have squeezed in a game in Seattle, but they weren't playing when we were there. And then Denver, those tickets were just Cowboy stratosphere type prices. It was like $200 nosebleed, cheap as like, nah, thank you. But I'm hoping to go to a Texans game at some point. Um, mentioned about wanting to go to every NFL stadium, want to go to every baseball stadium. Ever since I saw that credit card commercial growing up about some guys just going everywhere, I was like, man, that'd be so cool. I want to do that. The thing about baseball is that I don't like watching it on TV unless it's the playoffs or World Series, but I love watching it in person. It's just a very social sport where you can go with someone and have good conversations and eat good food and enjoy good weather and stuff. I prefer later games, so like kind of like sunset evening type games. But always down. A good friend of mine. He works with Round Rock Express, so I want to go out there and kind of see a game. Um, but yeah, played baseball growing up. Basketball was also another big interest. Only been to a few basketball games. The Spurs, for whatever reason, I've only been to like 4 or 5 Spurs games, and I think 3 of those games were against the Jazz, and then one was against the 76ers and once against the Supersonics. And like one of the biggest regrets that I have that was maybe a little bit outside of my control because I was so young was I really wanted to see Michael Jordan play before he retired. And I think in his final year or something, they had a game in San Antonio, and it was right around my birthday. And I begged and pleaded that we could get tickets to go see it because I really wanted to see him play in person. And we didn't end up getting tickets. So kind of similar to some of my concert regrets. It's like one of the ones like, man, however old I was, if I had my stuff together, I could have like gotten a ticket, but that would have been amazing. Um, And I guess playing sports, growing up, I played primarily like soccer, baseball, basketball. I played some football. I even played volleyball. It was kind of like an embarrassing thing I did like in 6th grade. It was like a new volleyball team they had, and there were some kids that came from another school that were like really good. That kind of helped create the team, and then I played on that. And none of the sports I actually played, I was ever like a starter or a star or anything. Even though I had a lot of, I felt like talent. And whenever I did get the chance, I felt like I did really well, scored a lot of points, or really contributed. And I think one thing was that the kids that got a lot of the playing time, their dads were like the coaches, so they may not have been like the better players, but their dads were coaching, and those were the ones that were, putting you into the game. And so I also think too, like sometimes looking back in my life in specific instances with sports related, I've I can share a few now or in the future where I we were playing like pickup games with the kids that were the starters and the kids that were the stars, and I know I in a way would like show them up whether if that was in basketball or football or something, and then it kind of really like damaged our relationship. Like for example, there was this one where the guy's name was I guess I'll give his name. Who knows if he's gonna see it or anyone else, but I won't give last name, but maybe a nickname. He went by the name of Emmy. And so he was from Mexico. He came. He was a tall kid. He was like star football player, star basketball player. Really good at soccer and all types of stuff. And he and I were like super tight, like really tight, like real cool. And then I used to go over to his place and I'd spend the weekend there and we'd spend the night and we'd do all types of stuff, playing video games, jumping on the trampoline, playing basketball, football. And he lived closer to this other kid named Raul, who's also like a really great athlete. And so like Emmy always like prided himself on being like a star football player, star basketball player. He was taller than me and bigger and stuff, but we played basketball and like we were playing 1-on-1 or 21 or knockout or whatever, and I just kept winning to the point to where like he was getting super frustrated, and I was like done playing, and he didn't want to finish playing until he beat me. So then like I let him beat me, but then he knew that I let him beat me, so didn't really count. So it just got to the point to where like I was done and he wouldn't let me go back into the house because I was beating him, like, kind of really poor sportsmanship, right? And so he then went in the house and just like locked me out. So then at that point I had to then figure out how to, I guess, walk to Raul's place. And then I eventually got there and then called my mom and picked me up. And while I was walking away, he like saw that I was walking away and then he tried to like convince me to come back because he knew he was going to get in trouble. I was like, nah, man, fuck that. Like, sorry, but clearly you don't want me there or whatever. And then that was kind of like the end of our friendship, really, I guess, unfortunately. Stupid petty little game. I mean, I was also like wrecking shop in like Mario Kart, and I was beating him in like everything. And because I wasn't like really one of the super cool kids, it was kind of one of those things where like, fuck, I can't lose to this kid. So that's kind of one sour sports experience. I have quite a lot of other ones, but over the years of even when I tried to play football, I was always great at pickup football, but when I played organized football, like a lot of those kids were like way bigger than me. Mainly because I was started school early, and kids in my group were 1 to 2 years older than me, and so they were always much bigger, faster, and stronger. But in pickup games, I always did really well. Um, so in football, I broke 2 fingers. Broke these two; they're kind of crooked, but broke one in high school and one in like 8th grade. So that kind of prevented me from playing like basketball. And then high school, I tried out for the basketball team, and I felt like I had a really good chance of making it. But I think on the last day or second to last day of camp, I really hurt my knee, and I couldn't walk for like a month and a half. So like I couldn't join the team. And that's when I learned about lacrosse. I played lacrosse one year in high school. I was the goalie. They needed the backup goalie, and I didn't know much about it. And apparently, we had one of the fastest shooters in Texas on the team. So I get in the goal, and I'm just standing there, and then he just cranks it, and then he lets it rip, and then it just hits me in the arm, and I just like drop my stick and just scream in pain and agony because I had this big old, almost immediate welt on my arm. So I did really good in goalie too. I manned up and kind of did really well. I always quick reflexes and fast and things like that, and good hand-eye coordination. So goalie's been always a good thing in soccer and lacrosse. And then in college, I played goalie again. It was really good. And then I was still backup because I was a senior, but then I transitioned into defense, and that was really great. But I unfortunately had to kind of give that up because my second year of lacrosse was when I was after my second year of lacrosse when I had the cancer experience I shared earlier. But even to this day, I still like playing basketball. I still have a nice jump shot. I can still play. Still pretty athletic in terms of like things. My brother does triathlons. I've only done like one or two, I think. But I like to go running and exercise and jump on a bike and swim and stuff and hiking as of late. So definitely still very active in sports is a big part of my life. So I have a lot of fond memories that I'll probably share in the future. So go ahead and get out and do some exercise and get some sun and do some teamwork. So get out there.